All right, everybody. Today, what we're going to be doing is starting to pull away from casting and start to use interfaces and also something else called traces. Today, what we're going to be looking at mostly is a sphere trace. And the way I've got this thing set up right now, we've kind of got a preliminary damage system kind of set up here. You'll notice these red boxes. That's where this sphere trace, this big green wire shape that you see there, is tracking my character from second to second. So every second it fires off and it will apply more damage to that player's health. So now you can see I'm at negative 210. So each one of those clusters is probably holding on to about 7 or so maybe hits across the entire body. So I'll go ahead and show you guys how we'll build that now. Okay, so first thing we're going to want to do is we have to make something that will represent some damage to our player. So I'm going to go ahead and right click in here. We'll do blueprint class. We're going to go to the actor. This is going to be called BP underscore, I don't want to just say damage, but subtract health, because that's really all it's going to do. It's just for entertainment purposes only. There's nothing else really going on here. Okay, so we have subtract health, and what we want it to do is just turn on whenever the player gets close enough, and then start working on their health using an blueprint interface. So to do that, we're going to go up here, and I think what I'll do is just have a particle system. Similar to the one that we saw previously. On this one, I'm going to have it be, let's see, fireball. How does that look? Oh, interesting. Oh, cool. No, I'm not going to use that one. Probably use something a little bit different. An explosion would be nice. I'm not sure if you all actually have a flamethrower. I have a few other things here that y'all might not have loaded into your level. But I think something that'll always hurt everybody is going to be some sparks. Okay, yeah, we use those on some fireworks. I don't know if that's really going to hurt us. But like I say, this is just to kind of explain what's going on. So let's go ahead and we'll just go with that. All right, so these sparks right here, I'm also going to make sure they scale a little larger on the X. So there we go. We should make them stand out a little bit more and kind of hug the ground a little bit more. There we go. That looks like something that could possibly hurt you. All right, so we have those, and this is something that I want it to be off initially. So I'm going to go into the visibility setting, uncheck that, and we'll go to the event graph. So one of the first things we're going to want to do is, this is something that needs to tell when the player character is close enough to it. So off the event begin play right here, what we want to do is we're going to need to make a reference to our character. We're not going to cast to it this time. We're just going to make a reference. To do that, we're going to right click here, do get player character. Let's see, that should be up here. There we go. Remember, we only have one character in our game currently, so the player index 0, that's our first player character. That's the only one we've got. And I'll go to this return value here, right click on it, promote to variable. Okay, we'll hook this up off the event begin play, so we just have that ready to go. Now this is getting a reference to our player character, but it's not casting. And the reason we want to try and stop casting, it's not as big of a deal with a lot of the modern computers, but you'll notice that some of ours are running a little slowly. So if we start working in this method instead of casting constantly, we won't keep loading up the memory. Every time we cast, and especially if we start adding more actors in, those casts start to add up inside your memory, and the memory starts to stack as these different actors start to get relationships between each other, and that can cause you a slowdown further down the line, especially if you want to have several hundred actors possibly acting on the screen at the same time. So this is going to be a more efficient way to do that. So first we're going to get that set up right there, and then we want to make a custom event. This custom event is going to be called, let's see, I think I'll call this track player. And this is just going to tell us how close the player is to our location. So we're going to drag off of this. We need to get it, actually, let's see, we need a distance 2. And this will give us an opportunity to use our new reference to our character. Notice it just says character right here. It's not saying side-scrolling character or anything like that. So as soon as it spawns in, it's going to fill in that player index 0 right there and give us our side-scrolling character. We'll just call this player ref. Okay, and I'll drag this in, and we'll get that, hooking it into the other actor. Our target is our self. This is where we're starting off. And what we want to do is check to see, are we less than or equal to a certain range. So in this case, I want to say within 800. That seems like a good one. And off the track player, we're going to use a branch. Okay, and this branch is going to kick in right here. And just to kind of be able to tell if we're if this is running correctly, what I want to do first is I'm going to hook up this particle system right here, and I'm going to set the visibility. Okay, so if we're within that range, we're going to turn on the particle system, and if we are outside of that range, we're going to, actually, I'll just make a copy of this one. Control D. There we go. That's probably the faster way. I should have done that. So uncheck that, and let's go ahead and test this thing out. Oh, I had something give me an error there. Let's see what that is. Let's see, I do need to call track player off of this set for this right here. Oh, my target. I didn't tie my particle system into my target. There we go. Compile. And let's see here. Is this our damage thing? I don't think so. Let me see, what is that? Oh, that's something else. All right, so let's get rid of that one. And let's grab our subtract health here. I'm going to make sure it's in line with my player character, which is at 1,000. And I'm going to drag it back a little bit just so we're not right on top of it. Okay, let's go ahead and test this out and see how we're doing. Walk in, and nothing. Okay, so let's go see what's going on here. Let's see, less than or equal 800, true, we turn it on. Tell you what, something else that might be helpful for us, just so we can see that something is here and that we're getting closer to it, I'm going to add a sphere in. Just a regular old sphere, don't care too much about it otherwise. And let's try this again. Okay, there's our sphere right there. Okay, we're getting closer. Oh, I think I know what the problem is. And the reason that we're not being able to check this constantly, because we're not calling this again after we initially call it. So what we want to do is drag off of here. We need to add in a little bit of a delay, because otherwise these things usually move fast enough that it can think it's calling the function at the same time that it's trying to execute it. So off of this one, we're going to call track player again. There we go. Now we're talking. I have a feeling this is going to work for us. Okay. All right. Walk up close, and there's our sparks coming out. Okay. And then walk away, and they disappear right away. Okay. And it's already inside of its animation, so all I'm doing right now is just turning the visibility on and off. Okay. So looks like our distance works just fine. Let's go ahead and take our next step, and we need to make a line trace that's going to be coming off of this. So I'm going to go ahead and take these and scoot them back just a little bit. And we're going to build our line trace off the true. If it's on false, we don't really care about running anything there. We're just going to let it be. But from a true setup, we want to fire off a line trace. So to do that, we're going to use a multi-line sphere. Got to get that thing out of the way. Let's just type in sphere. Trace, there we go. Now we have a few different ones here. Line trace by channel is handy, but what it does is it first thing it hits, that's what it's going to give you. So that's kind of nice to have for some aspects of game development, but we actually want to get anything that gets shown up inside of that sphere trace. So we're going to do a multi-sphere trace. Actually, it doesn't, we should be fine here. If you just do a sphere trace, actually, I'm sorry, just a sphere trace by channel, that just does it one time. Whatever it hits first, that's what it's going to give you. Multi-sphere trace of any kind, that's going to give you multiple hits all at once. Okay, so that's what we're going to want to use. Right here off the start and end, we're just going to be using the We'll probably use the default scene root because I may get rid of that sphere a little bit later on. And we're going to get the world location for this. There we go, get world location, and we're going to hook this right into start and into the end. I'm not really trying to change the way this works. I just want it to have its main point where it starts from to be where our actor is. And then the radius, I want to set that to 800. Okay. It's on the visibility channel. That should be good for us. On this one, the main thing you want to take a look at on your side-scrolling character is the capsule component. Anything that is blocking, let's see, there we go, blocking on the camera side. And let's see what our sphere trace is using. It's using visibility. We may be fine, but we may have to come back in here and change that to camera. Next thing is debug draw type. We want to see that for the duration, and if you want to change the length of that, here's a 5-second duration that you can change right there. All right, now on this one we have an out hits array right here, and what we want to do is we want to cycle through everything that we're hitting. So to do that, we're going to pull off of this, and we're going to do a for each loop. Okay, right there. This loops through all the different things that it's hit and builds up an array right here. Okay. Now what we want to do is just see everything that it's hitting. So the array elements that we have right here, we can put those into a print string. So I'm going to do a print string. We're just doing these piece by piece right now. And the array element, I'm going to load into here. Actually, I'm going to, this is a giant struct pin right here. So I'm going to split this out. And there's only one that we want to get. We want to get the hit actor, array element hit actor right here. Okay, tie that in. And this should tell us everything that we're seeing. Then I'll put this right back into the delay. And then we'll track player again. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how this is working now. Okay, we get close enough. There's our hits. And we're getting tons of them. Okay. The other one that you're seeing there says SM Cube 51. That is the ground right below us, if you'll notice over here in the outliner. And we can go back in, we can have it ignore certain things if we want to, but we're going to do something that even takes that off the plate here when we start building a BPI interface. So let's go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to right click inside of our content browser here. I'm going to go to Blueprint class, and I'm going to look for a BPI that may give it to us without having to worry about it, but let's do Blueprint interface. We could just do interface, and that'll probably get us what we want. Okay. Well, give me just a second, because I am not typing in the right thing, right? Blueprint, and I'm spelling it wrong. Interface. Okay. Well, let's just go into our space down here. We're just looking for all the stuff. Character, blueprint. I might be missing it down at the bottom. There we go. Okay, I'm going crazy for some reason. Let me check one other spot here, just real quick. That's why I went right past the menu I wanted. Okay, so just initially when you right click here, you're going to go to Blueprint, the initial right click in the content area. You don't want to go all the way into the Blueprint class setup there. I'm going to go down here in Blueprint, and we're going to go to Blueprint Interface right there. Now for Blueprint Interfaces, the shortened form that we use, like BP at the very beginning of naming the blueprints, this one we're going to do BPI underscore modify health. Okay. And once we go into here, this is very, very simple. It's a little bit deceiving. This new function area right here, we don't really do a whole lot with it. As we get into using these BPI, these blueprint interfaces a little bit more, we're going to see that the graph really doesn't do much for us. We might see something as we create a function, like right now this one says new function, but we don't have a return value. You can see over here on the right side we have inputs and outputs. If we don't have an output, it's not really going to work like a function right now, but we can pass information back and forth. We can check and see if things are utilizing a BPI, which can give us a good reason to pay attention to them or allow interaction with them, that kind of thing. So the main thing we're going to do right now, we're going to make this new function. Let's call it take damage. Okay, and we're going to use, or we could call it apply damage. Yeah, why not? We'll call it apply damage. That seems more appropriate, because what's going to happen here is we're going to get an event that we can call that'll allow us to apply some damage, which will be this right here, damage. And we're going to turn this Boolean into a float real quick. There we go. So what's going to happen is, as we use this, we're going to be able to pass whatever amount of damage from an actor over to our player character or any other actors that are in that space. The damage is going to be just dependent on what actor is interacting with our player. So the thing that we're making right now could do 10 points every time it fires off. We could have a grenade that goes off similarly, and it might do 50 points of damage, something like that. So let's go ahead and compile this, and then we're going to add it to our subtract health actor here. So to do that, we're going to go into, let me pop this back down here. We're going to go into our class defaults. We're going to see some stuff change over here as we do this. So up here at the very top, we're going to go to class defaults and get rid of that. And you'll notice that we have, oh, I'm sorry, actually class settings. We're going to class settings, yeah. And we have all these details, and we have interfaces down here. So I'm going to go to the add, and I'm going to look for, let's see, we called it modify health. There it is, BPI modify health. Okay. And then you'll notice over here on the interfaces, we have applied damage. Okay. So let's take a look at a few things here. If we just double click on this, this is what we would do if we just double click. And this is something we're going to have on our side-scrolling character, because what this means is anytime an interface interacts with them, this event gets kicked off, and we can get the damage from whatever interface other actor that has the same interface on it is applying to our player. So to make this apply their damage to our character, what we're going to do is right after this, we're going to do a couple things just to check and make sure that this actor is using our same interface. So I'm going to take this print string, I'm going to shove it over here to the side. I'm actually just going to get rid of it for now. I don't care about the display name or anything like that. But one thing I want to do here off this loop body is I'm going to have it check does implement interface. Now I have my context sensitive on right now, so it's going to give me a problem unless I look for this. So the object we're looking for is going to be our hit actor right there. And the interface we're looking for is modify health. There we go. So we just check to see, is this character using this interface? If it is, and to check that, we'll use a branch. Okay. If it is using that, then we're going to hook that up. And if it's true, then we're going to eventually end up applying some damage. So to do that, we're going to, let me go back over here, make this a little bit easier for you guys to see. Okay. To do that, what we're going to do is pull off this true right here, and the name of our function right here, apply damage. Let's go back in here. We're going to look for that in our setup. So we have BPI modify health right here, and here's our message right there. That message is the one that you're going to want to get. That's the one that sends it across to the other actor. So this is, if you're dealing damage, you want to get the message for that user interface. For this particular one, I'm just going to have it take off 5 points. Okay. And the target is going to be the same out hit actor that we have right here. Okay. We could also pull from way over here if we wanted to with the player ref. We could use the player ref over here, but this is basically the same thing, just what actor did we hit. And if it does implement it, then we're going to use the applied damage there. We're going to take off 5 points of damage. Now on our side-scrolling character, what we're going to need to do is put in a health variable, which we have right down here. Okay, and I've already got this one. I've just made it, I've given it 100 health after I compile and everything. I was able to set the default value on that, just a float value of 100. And what we'll need to do is we're going to get the same interface on this particular actor as well. So I'm going to get rid of this old one I was kind of testing with, and I'm in the class settings again. I'm under interfaces. I'm going to hit the little drop down. I'm going to type in BPI modify health. Okay, and notice we have apply damage right here. So this time, what we want to do is we have all this other functionality in our character. This one is just going to be saying like, hey, an interface thing just interacted with you and is going to try and apply damage. So what we can do is just double click on that. That'll make the event that's listening for that user interface looking for our player. And we're going to go from our health. We want to bring that in. We're going to set that. We're also going to need to get our original health or whatever our health is currently set at. And we're going to subtract this amount from our health. Now, one thing that's a little bit tricky about the subtract node, go ahead and type that in there. We have our operator. Now, we have to kind of think about this, that this is kind of set up on its side. So we need to think about like, okay, I want to subtract the damage from the health. So if that's the case, then we need to start off with our health up here at the top and damage down here at the bottom. Okay. And then we're going to put this here, and then we're going to use a print string to show how much health we currently have. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tie this over to this other side. And considering, let me go ahead and compile that really fast. Let's see, we have blue, and they're going to be on screen for about 2 seconds. That should be enough for us to get a pretty good idea what's going on. One thing we're going to need to keep in mind is I need to hook these things back up, otherwise this isn't going to work. But our delay is at 0.2, so that means that this thing's going to be firing off like quite often. So I'm guessing our player is going to go below 0 pretty fast. So let's go ahead and play this. We were jumping here, and oh yeah, we're already at negative 987 because we have it firing off every 0.2 seconds. So I'm going to go back into our subtract health, and instead of having this fire off every 0.2 seconds, I'm going to have it fire off every 1 second. I'm also going to have the damage be just 1, so it doesn't completely kill us as soon as we walk in, because you'll notice we're getting a lot of hits all at once. So let's go ahead and jump in here, and there we go, 85, 56, 44. Okay, not too bad. That's about right for how many times we're getting hit here. Now, we may not want to keep firing this off like this. This is kind of damage as if you were in a fire, like it keeps adding up. But we may just want to have this act like a grenade and just go off once and then apply damage once. So let's try that real quick. I'm going to go ahead and as soon as I'm within range, we're going to modify health a little bit. Whoops, that's our BPI, subtract health. What I want it to do is as soon as I step into it, and it looks like we're close enough, like we're within 800, I'm going to have it delay just, 1 second, so we can get into this space a little bit further in. Okay, 1 second. And then I'm going to have it only fire off once, okay? So I'm not going to have it track anymore. It's just going to do it once. That should be enough for it to go off and then apply a little bit of damage. So let's go ahead and try this. Okay, walk in. And we didn't get it. Okay, let's go back in here. So let's see, event begin play, we got that right there. Track player has to constantly be running for that to happen, so we'll probably have to add in a branch. I do want to still have track player happening. You know what we can do is we can just not have this come back to hit our player again. So while we're inside of it, we just disconnect this right here. So instead of after it applies damage, we won't continue checking to see if the player's there. Okay, so let's see. Oh yeah, target, track player. Okay, let me pull off of that. I think the one I was wanting is, yeah, no, that's right. That's right. It's track player. Okay. There we go. Subtract health. There we go. That's the one I want. So effectively, as soon as it deals damage, it won't keep doing it until this value is false again. In other words, I'm outside of that area. So here we go. Okay, walking in. There we go. We got a little bit right there. Okay. So we did take a little bit of damage. I go back in again, and it won't fire off again. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump in here. And I gave it like a second delay as soon as I got in so I could get in a little bit further. There it goes. It took the hit, and it still managed to take off quite a bit. So let's see how many it takes off. 1. There's my hit. 78. So it looks like we lost about, 22 points of damage in that one little hit. So what we'll probably want to do is make sure that that one shot doesn't take out quite as much a little bit later on as we work through this. But as far as setting this stuff up to get us to a place where we can apply damage, we can start using interfaces to access different parts of our characters. We can get references without casting. That's pretty much what we're looking for right here. A little bit of a ways to go, but we'll get to it here pretty quick. 78, yep, looks pretty consistent. We're getting hit about 22 times every time we go through there. So we'll be continuing with this one a little bit later, and we want to make sure that you guys are in good shape as far as understanding. So I want to stop it right now because I'm sure this one's been a little bit long, and we'll see you in the next one.